Good evening, Sahil. Thank you for asking me to make this forgiveness recording for everybody. Sahil is a young man who met whom I Sahil is a young man, and we both met about 4 years ago. And after that, he we just have been sporadically keeping in touch. And recently, he asked me to come in to address a gathering of awakened youths on several aspects of healthy living. So we're talking about emotional and psychological living, and we went through certain programs on self worth, self love, and forgiveness. And forgiveness is one practice which really intrigued, and it is so for many people for several reasons. One of the things is that this is one of the most controversial practices, though it may not seem so for many, but it's one of the most controversial practices. That's because the process of forgiveness, which has been talked about by many people, and many enlightened people, many influential people, and the constant reminder that we are given is to forgive the other person. And it dates back to my school days, where in my textbooks I used to read how Gandhiji, when somebody slapped him on one face, he showed slapped him on one cheek. He's where we read in the textbooks in school, where Gandhiji, when he was slapped on one cheek, he showed the other cheek. So we all failed to comprehend what we just wrote in the exam, so that we need to get the marks, but we failed to comprehend the complete practice of forgiveness itself. And the result, of course, is evident, wherein we see so many illnesses. Now, that's something that I want to talk about. So forgiveness is something. So the unforgiveness, rather, there are just two basic emotions that you can hold on to prevent yourself from forgiving someone. One is sorrow, the other is grief. So when you have these two emotions, sorrow and grief, then what results is unforgiveness. And sorrow and grief primarily happen because you don't want to forgive the other person, and you feel betrayed, or you feel let down, or you feel cheated. So these are the two basic emotions. So when you don't let go of them, when you hold on to these two emotions, then the body bears the brunt of it. So you develop symptoms which are relating to your lungs, your digestion, your gallbladder, your liver, your kidneys, and primarily these are and the brain, of course, and these are the parts of the body which get affected with unforgiveness. I also remember meeting people who have got eye disorders because of unforgiveness, and people who've had cervical issues and sleep issues when they have held on to resentment, anger, hatred, and several other symptoms. Well, now, first of all, I need to discuss about what is forgiveness and why we need to do this. And the most important part with communication is that we always go through a medium, which means that you are the audience and I am the speaker. Now, if you have to listen to me, now there is a medium, and the medium is called perception. Okay, so you are watching this video on a screen, but still there is a constant judgment that's happening of me based on your memory. So what does your memory say about a person who looks like me, who speaks like me, and the subject matter that I'm speaking about, and the language, the intonation, the words that I choose to use, everything comes into play when we are talking about a perception. So essentially, the perception is the medium that builds between you and me. So it's a bridge. So you cannot talk to me without having a perception. Of course you can, but it's very rare that people communicate with one another without forming a perception. The first perception is automatic, rather it's in the subconscious, one of the first things that happen when you want to communicate with someone. So having said that, so much about the perception, it's also very important for us to realize that when you are willing to forgive, or when you have to forgive, you are simply working with the medium. You're not working with a person. Okay, you have to work with the medium, you have to work with the perception, you have to work with the bridge. Now when you break the bridge, then there is no more resentment, there's no more anger, there's no more judgment. So all of it forms the bridge of communication. So when you break that bridge, and that's where freedom really is. So it's got nothing to do with the other person. This is the most important part in forgiveness. Well, so how do we go about this? This is what I had discussed the practice, but I had not discussed how to go about this practice. Well, here are the steps. The first and foremost thing is to make a list. So, what is this list that we are talking about? We are talking about making a list of all the small instances, small memories that you have, which contain a feeling of hurt, feeling of being let down, feeling of being victimized, or any such thing, anything that takes away your peace from you. That is what first you need to make a note of. So make a note of the experiences starting from today, going backwards. This is the first step. You have to start today, going backwards. And this list will be inexhaustive, which means that you will have so many things. You'll remember things way back that happened way back 30 years ago, that you'll remember even the clothing, even the environment where you were, even the setting where you were. So you can remember all that. All that is stored in the subconscious, and it'll come alive. The second part, once you have written it down, this is where we do the forgiveness part. So the forgiveness exercise happens soon after. So you take the first experience that you have written down, and the forgiveness practices like this. So you need to recollect this experience, and once you have recollected the experience, you imagine projecting this experience on an imaginary television screen, or you're projecting it on a presentation screen, a white presentation screen. Okay, either of the two. The reason why you have to do this is because you need to stop identifying with the memory. It's there in your conscious memory or unconscious memory, but it's not yours. You are holding on to it, which is why you must stop relating to it, because you need to work with it now. So imagine that you're projecting this memory. What does it mean by imagining projecting this memory? Just see as if this memory is being played out on a television screen or on a projection screen. This is called as recollecting your memory. Okay, so once you have recollected your memory, the next thing you're going to do is to relive this memory. So whenever you have to relive this memory, what you have to do is to replay this memory as if it's happening now, which means that you go back to the time, you go back to that moment where this experience actually happened. You bring it to life. So all the emotions will come to life. You'll start feeling all the hurt, the pain, the animosity, everything that happened at that moment, all of it will come alive. Now what next? Once it comes alive, now most of the people dread it, because this is the place where you are going beyond your comfort zone. But unless you are willing to drop, you cannot even choose to let go, because the comfort zone is so encompassing, feeling so comfortable for you, that you don't want to let go. It's a crutch, it's a cozy corner. But that's what it will actually strangle you. So if you choose to come out, this is what you need to do. You need to relive that moment. The moment you start reliving it, now this is where you take action. So the first thing you do is to work with the experience. Now this is the whole difference in what others teach and what I teach. You're going to work with this experience, and you're not going to try and forgive the person. It's impossible to forgive the person, because you've judged the person. You have said what he said is wrong, what he did was wrong, it was inappropriate. Once the judgment has been passed, you cannot forgive that person any longer. So instead, what you do is to work with the memory, with the experience. The experience has all the emotion in it, and that's what we need to work on. And that's what we will do now. So this is what we are going to do. You're going to start by telling this experience. Mind you, it's not to do with the person. You tell the experience, I forgive you unconditionally. I forgive you unconditionally. Okay, now let's do this practice. Now let me take you through the whole practice with your eyes closed. So please close your eyes and project this experience on the imaginary television screen or the presentation screen, and bring it to life. Go back to that moment. Relive the experience as if it's happening now. And now speak to the experience. I choose to release you from all directions of time and from all planes of existence now. I forgive you unconditionally. I send you unconditional love. I send love to all thoughts, feelings, emotions, beliefs, perceptions, choices, judgments, and expectations. I cut the cords that connect them to the mind. I set them free. There's another way of doing it where you actually recognize the thought. You say, I recognize your presence. I choose to release you from all directions of time and from all planes of existence now. I forgive you unconditionally. I send unconditional love to you. I send love to all thoughts, feelings, emotions, beliefs, perceptions, choices, judgments, and expectations. I cut the cords that connect them to the mind. I set them free. So when you say that I cut the cords that connect them to the mind, see all of these thoughts, feelings, emotions, beliefs, perceptions, choices, judgments, and expectations connect to the mind as if they were gas balloons which are connected by a string. When you say I cut the cords that connect them to the mind, I set them free, just imagine you are using a scissor or a blade to cut off all the strings and let the balloons go. And now, because you've been holding on to this experience, you need to forgive yourself. Though that's the only reason why you would forgive yourself. It's not no mistake, because every moment you've done anything, you believed what you were doing was right. So hold on to that truth that what I did was right. Don't get back to that wisdom and say that, no, I shouldn't have done it. Yes, you should, but you did. And so hold on to that truth. And now you're going to work with yourself and say this to yourself. Okay, get back to closing your eyes and say this. I forgive myself unconditionally. I love and accept myself unconditionally. I make a peace with my past. I make peace with my past. My past is dead. I let go. Once you're done, you open your eyes, and if you have even 1% of any emotion, of any anger or unhappiness or sorrow or hate or jealousy, envy, any 1% of this emotion, if you still have, you need to do this practice again. Ideally, when you do this practice, just forgiving the experience, then just once would be enough. And it's tremendously cleansing and tremendously freeing. So this is the practice. So I'll take you through the steps once again. First is you make a list of all the practices that are there in your subconscious memory. Start from the most recent experience and go backwards. And then you start working with experience number 1. Ideally, what will happen is, moment you finish the first one, it will not go to the second one. There'll be a thread of other experiences which will surface once you've completed the forgiveness with the first experience, and go with the thread, finish it, and then you'll come to the second one, and there'll be a thread again, and then the third one, and slowly the threads will collapse, and you will have the chronological order of next. You may have certain other experiences which you might have forgotten, which will suddenly surface. These are like peels of onions, so they just have overlapped over one another. So you need to release one to resurrect the other. So the best thing to do is to work with each one of them with consistency and continuality, because the more continuous you are and more consistent you are, the more you will release, and you will see that one day you are just free and you will be so light. In fact, I've given this practice to patients with chronic and terminal illnesses, and I have seen how their terminal illness heals just by releasing this. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please practice the steps, and if you have any doubts you can always write to me at mahesh@nadichikitsa.com and give your feedback and write your questions to me. I will answer your questions and make sure that you will succeed on your path to freedom. Have a good day.